Welcome back to the program, and we begin on a rather sad note from Jigawa State, to be precise, where a petrol tanker has exploded at Majia town in Tawara local government area in a devastating incident which led to the death of 140 persons, while 80 others who were injured have been hospitalized. According to the state's police public relations officer, DSP Lawan Adam, the incident occurred around midnight on Tuesday when a tanker driver traveling from Kano to Unguru in Yobe State lost control near Khadija University in Majia. The disaster was triggered by residents who had rushed to collect petrol after the tanker overturned. The command disclosed that the authorities have commenced a mass burial for the victims and expressed condolences to their families and the entire people of Jigawa State. In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu has directed the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, to lead a federal government delegation to Jigawa in response to the petrol tanker inferno, which claimed 140 lives in Majia town. As contained in the statement by the Special Advisor on Information and Strategy to the President, Bayo Ononuga, while in Jigawa, the delegation will visit the scene of the incident to assess the situation and visit injured persons in the hospital. President Tinubu further directed that emergency aid, including medical supplies, food and shelter, be extended to the 50 injured victims receiving treatment and others affected by the fire. And following the petrol tanker explosion which occurred in Jigawa State, the Senate has asked the National Orientation Agency to begin sensitization on the dangers of indulging in the act of scooping fuel from tankers whenever such accidents occur. These resolutions followed a matter of urgent importance raised by some lawmakers as part of measures to forestall a reoccurrence of this unfortunate incident. The upper chamber observed that the latest inferno has become one incident too many, in spite of previous fatalities from similar incidents.
Call on the National Orientation Agency and other relevant authorities to carry out adequate sensitization on the dangers involved in these hazardous practices. Call on the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management and the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to provide relief materials to the victims of the inferno, that is the survivors. Those in support of prayer one say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
And staying with the National Assembly, the House of Representatives is wading into the increase in pump price of petroleum products. In a motion moved by the Deputy Minority Leader, Aliyu Madaki, and sponsored by 111 members of the House is calling for the immediate reversal in the price increase on petrol and cooking gas. The lawmakers fear that the hike is causing hardship for Nigerians and threatening job security. The Green Chamber is asking the NNPCL and the Ministry of Petroleum Resources to increase local refining capacity, while the CBN should implement monetary policies that will mitigate the adverse effects of fuel price hikes on inflation.
The House further notes that Section 11, subsection 1B, stipulates that the federal government must, not later than 4 months before the commencement of the next financial year, further worried that the time the National Assembly requires to exercise its functions as enshrined in Section 88, subsection 2B, is technically being taken away by the non-compliance of Section 11B of Fiscal Responsibility Act by the Executive.
The increases of food in this country, somebody who is earning 70,000 a month, his 70,000 cannot last him for 3 days in this country, in the same government.
And the federal government has held a closed-door meeting with members of the organized labor comprising the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, and the Trade Union Congress, TUC, to dialogue on some of the recent reactions from the workers' union to government's and in reaction to government policies. The meeting, which held at the office of the Secretaries of the Government of the Federation, was attended by the President of the NLC, Deputy President and General Secretary of the TUC, as well as the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Minister of Budget and National Planning, and the Minister of Finance. Although officials of organized labor declined interview requests at the close of the meeting, the Minister of Labor says the meeting was a proactive measure, Minister of Information rather, on the part of government to ensure smooth relationship with workers. And the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Mr. Atiku Bagudu, says the federal government is on course for the implementation of its economic reforms, noting that the impact will soon be visible. The minister stated this at the closing ceremony of the Nigeria Economic Summit in Abuja. However, he assures Nigerians that the government will continue to collaborate with the private sector to achieve results. And the Northeast Development Commission is planning to review the contract for the rehabilitation of the Alau Dam in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. The managing director of the commission, Mr. Mohammed Al-Kali, stated this during the assessment of the impact of the recent flood on some of the ongoing projects in the state. Mr. Al-Kali explains that the review is necessary in view of the damage done to the dam by the flood. And more stories now in response to the growing financial strain on Nigerians caused by high energy and transportation costs. The Ministry of Finance Incorporated, Credit Corps, the Nigeria Consumer Credit Corporation, and the Presidential Initiative on CNG have joined forces to launch a total of 10 billion naira credit access for light and mobility claim CALM for Nigerians. The new fund, which commences with 2.5 billion naira, aims to provide affordable credit for Nigerians to obtain CNG conversion kits and other energy-saving solutions, making essential services more accessible to Nigerians while also promoting sustainability. The fund will enable Nigerians obtain loans through participating financial institutions by providing a pathway to sustainable energy without the financial burden of upfront costs. Therefore, Nigerians are encouraged to explore this opportunity by applying for CALM fund loans through participating financial institutions. Outside our shores now, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has presented MPs with a long-awaited victory plan that aims to strengthen his country's position and enough to end the war with Russia. Zelenskyy told Parliament in Kiev that the plan could finish the war, which began with Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. Next year, key elements include a formal invitation to join NATO, the lifting by allies of bans on long-range strikes with Western-supplied weapons deep into Russia, and a refusal to trade Ukraine's territories and sovereignty, and the continuation of the incursion into Russia's western Kursk region. The Kremlin dismissed this plan, with a spokesman saying Kiev needed to sober up. And pleasant news from the sports scene as Nigeria's Flamingos got off to a winning start at the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup in the Dominican Republic. The Flamingos beat New Zealand 4-1 in a dominant performance. The girls ran to a 3-0 lead just 28 minutes into the game and finished it off on a strong note. As early as the second minute, Shakirat Moshood got Nigeria in front before Taiwo Adegoke added a second 11 minutes later. Faridat Abdulwahib's brilliant lob caught the goalkeeper off guard in the 28th minute to make it 3-0 in the first half. And the match ended, of course, 4-1.